Hello everyone. Today I'm going to show you guys how to fix a Samsung dryer. I believe it's the heating element. Let's take a look. So here's the Samsung dryer. I'll post a serial number on this shortly. First, what we're going to do is we want to go ahead and unplug it. Next, we're going to take off 3 screws. It's the ones with the washers. You got the top one, that one, and that one. Now we're gonna take off that one, that one, that one, and that one. All right, so now when you have the screws off, you're gonna just lift up on the lid or just push it forward. And there's a wire over there you're gonna need to disconnect. So now we're just gonna lift up from the front and we're gonna fold it backwards, but be careful, there's a wire over here. So we're not gonna disconnect it. We're just gonna flip it. And then after we do that, we're gonna have to put this on its back side on the floor to take off some screws from the front. And I'll show you in a minute. All right, so I have it on its back side on the floor. And this piece just opened up, which is fine because there's your wire still connected. So, and then there's screws. So we're gonna take off these white ones over here. We got 1, 2, 3. All right, so now we got 2 more. One over there and one over here. Now we got 4. They're in here on this black thing. Pull them out. All right, so now we got these tabs over here. You got a tab right there, and there's another one over here, which is on the top area. And then just bend them up like so. So you see how I bend this one up, bend it up. Same thing with that one. Bend it up a little bit. We're gonna take this thing off. All right, so after you loosen up those tabs, you'll lift up, and you got another one all the way in there. Okay, so if you can't unplug that, it's okay, no problem. What I did, I just stood it up. You can have something back there and hold it up while you're working. We're gonna get in here now. All right, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and take this screw off right here, and our heating element is in here. All right, so after taking that screw off, there's another screw. It's in the inside in here, so you have to get the screwdriver in here, facing this way, and take it off. All right, so after you got the heating element disconnected from here, we're gonna I've already went ahead and disconnected these 2 wires. All you gotta do is push and pull. And then we're gonna take this off as well. And there's 2 screws on top, so we can pull this out. And then you got 2 more screws on the bottom of it. All right, after you got all 4 screws out, go ahead and take this out. Okay, I'm just gonna set it right here. And then you have your heating element. All right, so I pulled this out so you can see. We have the red wire over here, and we also have a blue wire all the way down at the bottom. So remember, red is gonna be on this white. We're gonna disconnect both of them. We're gonna pull this out. All right, so here's the heating element. Those pins are gonna be kind of hard to take off. Try to use like a flathead just to pop them off. Just be very careful. Yeah, you can tell this thing is burnt. Okay, so we got some screws to take off over here. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 screws. Now you're just gonna take off 2 top screws. I took off 1 over here. I'm gonna take this one off, and then it should come right off. All right, and one last thing. you gotta bend this piece up to take this off. Okay, so here we are. Heating element. That's the old one. There's the new one. Use your difference. I have to disconnect it from these 2 pins over here. Alright, so what I end up doing, I end up cutting the ends off the heating element on the old one so I can work on this more better. And what I realized, to get this thing off, the best thing to do is try to cut it from this side, and we're going to slide this thing out. Alright, so you see what I mean by cutting it? So I cut it over there, and this thing will just slide right out. Do it with one hand. There you go. Okay. And then on here it also shows, I have like a mark. Where is it at? Oh, right here. See that red or brown? This is going to be on the bottom. So the bottom is going to hold the blue pin. Alright, so when you set the heating element on here, this will only sit one way because the way these 4 corners are at. And then also this top piece right here, which is your top heating element, this is going to go to the one over here on top, and the one on the bottom is going to go on the bottom, and then that's where it's going to connect to the blue, and then the red one will connect to the top. Just like that. Top element to the top, which is right here, and then the bottom one to the blue. Alright, so I put this back together, put the screws on and everything. I put it in there, it's ready to go. Next thing you want to do is, remember, so this blue long wire goes over here on this end, and the red one goes back over here on top, like so. Okay, so when you're putting it back in there, you might have to take the red wire off, put it in there, and then connect the red wire back on, and then you'll get it in there. And then the next thing we're gonna do is put this back on, which is the bracket. You remember, it goes in this way, okay, with this piece sticking out, and 4 screws. Okay, so I was able to get the 2 screws on the bottom, but what I had to also do is feel around for these 2 holes over here on the inside, screw them in a little bit, and then screw them in all the way. Just don't drop any, and if you do, grab a magnet or something and try to get them out. This one was easy to get in. This one, the one in the back over here, was pretty tough. Again, feel around, find that hole, and then screw it over your hand, and then go ahead and tighten it, snap that into place. And then now we're gonna put this thing back down. All right, after you get the door back on, then we're gonna have to screw in the black. So from the bottom, 4 screws. Okay, so after I put it back on its right side up, I flip this back up. This is actually the top piece. And then we gotta put these pins back in. So what I did was I kind of bent it up like that, and then bent this up, and then push this forward and snap it into place, and then you can push it down. All right, so I have to get those pins in place. Remember, we got one of these with the black screw, 3, 1, 2, 3, and another one with the black screw. And now we're gonna put the top on. All right, so now we just put the lid on. Make sure you snap it in here. There's a wire, you want to snap it back to place. You got your 4 screws, you got your 1, 2, 3, 4, and then your last ones are in the front, which are the 3 when you open up the door. So you have your last 3 screws, which is the top one and the 2 bottom ones. I've already tested this dryer. Looks like it's working on my end. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please leave your comments down below. Hopefully it works out for you guys.